he was
Chapel Roan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh my. So he was Luther Burns, my draft crush.
Storm.
All right, guys. So Russell Wilson just ruined every single mock draft that has happened over the last 45 days since the Super Bowl concluded. I absolutely hate him. He is at the top of my hate list right now, even with baseball fresh on the horizon. So sorry, Dodgers.
I don't think he's ruined 45 days worth of mock drafts. I think he just ruined like the one that we did.
You know what? We don't like Mr. Unlimited here, but here is our top 10 picks. We're going to go around and just go off. I'll go ahead and start. I got Cam Ward going to Tennessee with my number 1 overall pick. What do you guys got going on there?
I have Cam Ward at 1. I think Tennessee obviously didn't really do anything for like the quarterback position. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be in the boat. I really think it's Pittsburgh or retire for him. Like I think those are his two options. I like Cam Ward. I think they're done with the Will Levis experiment. I think they want to get their own quarterback. Obviously, that regime inherited Will Levis. I think they want to find their own guy. He's has a strong arm. He's mobile. He makes a lot of good throws. He's a lot more of a raw talent than Sanders, but I think his upside is a lot higher. I think the biggest downside to Cam Ward is that sometimes you'll find that he's going to make throws in the NFL that NFL caliber players are going to intercept or break up. Sometimes he's confident in the pocket, but he's overconfident. NFL players versus college players. I think that's him and Sanders' biggest issues. But I think just the upside of what he is and what Tennessee needs, they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
They need someone that they can lead, and I think he is a good fit for them.
I think both of them are going to get humbled pretty quick in the NFL. But yeah, I got Cam Ward going to Tennessee. It's pretty obvious. They're not in any market for any quarterback. It's the obvious pick. He's the best quarterback in the draft. They're a super quarterback needy team. So it's the obvious pick, but it's going to happen. Cam Ward to Tennessee.
I think the writing's all on the wall for them, which means we won't get any more Will Levis memes. He was on a generational run for 6 weeks, dude. We'll
see him in preseason, dude. A couple preseason ones.
I hope not. But I think Will Levis's biggest problem, which can be Cam Ward's problem, is that he just doesn't know how to take a positive play, and he's just too careless with the ball.
Yeah.
I think if Cam Ward can come into the NFL and they can coach him up and develop him to not be super careless and to trust the play and to read the defense.
He's careless like me in NCAA.
Oh, dude, this guy's a bust if it's that case.
That's crazy.
Dude, Derek did his damn homework. That was pretty decent.
I did it for my boy Sal.
That was good, man.
That was for my boy Sal.
I was going to say, Cam Ward holds the ball too damn long. That's his biggest flaw. Back to Cam Ward, though. I think he's safe bet to be the number 1 overall pick, regardless of who gets it, because apparently the Browns and the Giants are talking about moving up for 1. Yeah, give me a break, Schefter. All right, let's fast forward.
I just called out. Never mind. Just go.
This one's for you, Adam Schefter.
This one's for you, Adam Schefter, for ruining my day yesterday. All right, so second overall, that belongs to the Browns. Travis Hunter.
Oh, Travis
breaks
Hunter
my heart, man.
I've seen Travis Hunter go too in a lot of mocks that I've been like looking at. I've been like doing what other people are saying and seeing where they're going at. I've seen Travis Hunter at 2 a lot. I've started getting a lot of traction.
Well, he just, I get Carter is going to make that defense insane, but I think they do need an offensive playmaker. They have no quarterback, so I probably should have wrote in Shador, but he's coming up later. But Travis Hunter, he's just probably the best prospect in the draft. He tears up on both sides of the ball. It's just really depressing that he's going to potentially end up going to Cleveland or New York. But I got him going to Cleveland. He does everything well. He's a fantastic receiver. I personally think he's a better receiver than he is a corner. Just some of the plays he makes. I think back to the North Dakota State game where Shador like kind of threads the needle there in the end zone as the go-ahead touchdown. And he just makes this like crazy kind of like the way he just contorted his body to make the catch. I'm just like, dude, this guy's ready for the NFL. There might be concerns about his size and his weight, but dude, he's gonna figure it out, and teams are gonna find a way to get him on both sides of the ball for sure.
Yeah, I have Sanders at 2. I just can't fathom. I don't care what the reports say. I cannot fathom they're gonna go into the season with Kenny Pickett and Deshaun Watson. I just can't do it. I can't do it after how bad Deshaun Watson was. He's coming off an injury. Like, he already wasn't good, and now he's coming off an injury again. He's getting older. I can't think that they're going to be like, oh, yeah, man, we're going to run this with Kenny Pickett, and then we're going to switch to Watson. I can't see it.
I mean, yeah, it is pretty insane that Kenny Pickett would be their starting quarterback.
I just can't. I mean, the Browns wouldn't surprise me if they did it. Like, if I saw Abdul Carter go at 2, I'd be like, or Travis Hunter.
I think if any team's going to start Kenny Pickett this year, it's going to be Cleveland, dude.
But
Super Bowl winning quarterback.
yeah, Super Bowl winning quarterback. You got to put a little bit of respect on his name. But I think Sanders, he's not the prototypical quarterback that we see in the NFL nowadays, but he's a lot more pro ready than Cam Ward. He throws with anticipation. He sits well in the pocket. He's very confident. He's accurate. He can make throws down the field. He does have an average arm, so when he tries to go off balance or he tries to go off script, the throws he makes in college, he probably won't make in the pros as much. I think that's the same thing with Cam Ward's problem. The other issue with Sanders, to me, is the biggest one, is that he holds the ball and he runs into a lot of sacks. He backpedals. He tries to maneuver a lot. He tries to do what Caleb Williams did in college, but he couldn't do it. So if it couldn't translate in college, it probably won't translate in the pros.
It won't translate in the pros.
I'm sure he's going to get better. Like, I don't think he's always going to do that. He's very confident in the pocket. He's a true leader. Like, I think Cleveland needs a leader at quarterback. I think Sanders fits the bill. I think he has all of the traits to be a leader. And I think if you're looking for a quarterback to go help you win games, he's the guy. Like, he's going to be able to make those. He's going to make some bad plays, but he's NFL ready. His ceiling is a little lower than Ward, but in terms of who do you want to go start winning football games right now, it's Sanders. And the Browns' defense hasn't been the problem in the past couple seasons. You look back, sure, they've gotten waxed a couple times, but they don't lose games because of their defense. They locked up Myles Garrett. Go get you someone who can actually help you win football games and not put 10 points on the board every week.
Yeah. I do not have Shedeur going in my top 10. I honestly think a lot of these teams, especially the ones that a couple of them that are quarterback needy, I don't think Shedeur is going to like turn that page for him. So I have a lot of them taking these like more just kind of these like blue chip guys that are definitely going to, I would say, impact the game a little bit more. So I have Cleveland taking Abdul Carter, just because if you have Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett on the same line, like what are a lot of these teams going to do? You know what I mean? They just have like two insane people coming off the edge. Like, Cleveland's offense is obviously not great and they need a lot of work, but if their defense is keeping them in games, like with people like these two edge rushers, like there's going to be a lot of games where they're going to be able to hang around longer than they should have, right? So if I'm Cleveland, I'm honestly taking Abdul Carter, and hopefully I can get a quarterback in one of these later rounds, because honestly, I don't think Shedeur is going to be that much better compared to some of these other guys, so we'll see.
All right, so I got at 3 the Giants picking. I got them getting Shedeur. No, I'm just kidding. I have them getting Abdul Carter, and I think that's just, he's a stud. He's a monster. He just is an incredible pass rusher. He was playing banged up in the Orange Bowl and gave Notre Dame hell the whole game. He's giving everyone hell the whole season. Josh Simmons is about the only tackle in football who was able to sort of handle him. He's from Ohio State. He'll be a later first-round pick. He's coming off a pectoral muscle tear. But Sanders Carter, he does everything right. I don't know exactly who his pro comp would be because he's just kind of on his own. Micah Parsons is kind of the guy because I think he could drop a bit back more into coverage, but his specialties, you could put him anywhere in the box. Mm-hmm. And that's where he was just so good in college. You could line him up against the center. You could put him on the outside. That was his strength, and he's just a freak athlete too. He's just big, he's strong, he's got all the right moves. He's going to get through tackles. He is going to be an immediate game wrecker for any team. And the Giants already have a good defensive line because they have Brian Burns, they have Dexter Lawrence. I think if you pair him with Carter, that's going to make him better, because I would argue that obviously with the move of Russell Wilson, that doesn't buy Dable and the front office any more time. I don't even know if Shedeur Sanders would buy them more time in terms of keeping their jobs. But I think Carter gives them a chance to stay into football games. And we all know Jameis. I'm upset about that because Malik Neighbors' draft stock just decreased like significantly with Russ. But Winston and Wilson, whoever the hell the starter is, it's probably be Wilson, they're going to be good enough to win football games. And Carter is going to just add more to that defense to the point they will be in football games. And that's the most important thing.
I like Carter at 3. I have Travis Hunter at 3. The reason why I don't have Carter is just because their D line is already very promising.
Mhm.
They've already invested a lot of money, assets into that D line. I don't really see a part where Carter is going to fit. Someone's going to have to go, and that's going to take away from earlier investments that they put into that defense. So I just don't really see Carter going there. I like Travis Hunter because of his unique abilities. Obviously, he's a two-way player. We don't know how well he is going to be two-way, but he's going to be an immediate weapon for the offense. I think he's a better cornerback than he is receiver. I think if he had to play one position, I think him on defense would be great. But I think his ability to be in special packages on offense, he is number one, CB1 and wide receiver 1 in this draft class.
Yep.
It's insane that he is the best player at two different positions, two very valuable positions. He's a good route runner. His body control is crazy. His catch radius is insane. Doesn't matter where the ball is. If he can get up, he's gonna go get it. He has elite ball skills from playing DB. He has a good burst to the ball. He's a ball hawk. There's really nothing he can't do. My only downside to Sanders is going to be longevity of how long and consistent he can play both sides of the balls in the pro. I think that's the biggest thing for him. And then his size. I think if he was to line up against guys like an AJ Brown or a DK Metcalf or just these bigger wide receivers, is he going to be able to guard them and stop them? I don't think he can. I think sometimes he does struggle against press as a wide receiver, but there's ways to get around that. There's ways to game plan around press coverages, so I'm not too concerned. But at 3, I like Travis Hunter bringing some energy to New York.
Yeah, I got Travis Hunter going to New York too. Honestly, like I really have no preference with him at receiver or corner, to be honest, but I can see them using him as both. Obviously, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how New York or whoever takes him kind of uses him. And honestly, I don't see New York passing on somebody. If Travis Hunter's there at 3, they're not going to pass on him.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think them taking Russ indicates that they think their team is ready.
Yep.
Are they ready? Probably not.
No.
That division, they're the worst team in their division.
Yeah.
But them getting Russ, I feel like they are ready, and then looking for an impact player to immediately create a shift.
Yep.
And Hunter's going to give them that on both sides of the ball.
Because their division is so competitive. Like somebody like Travis Hunter, who's like a generational type talent, like that can, I don't know, it's going to be hard to make a difference in that division, but somebody like Travis Hunter will definitely give you a chance to do that. So I think if you're New York and Travis Hunter's on the board and you don't take him, you're stupid. So definitely Travis Hunter in New York.
All right, so 4, this is where the draft's going to start to get spicy. I got the Pats taking Teteroa McMillan from U of A, baby.
Even
love
after
this kid.
Stephon Diggs?
Well, so Diggs is projected to be healthy for week 1. But, dude, Ted is... Bro, watch his tape.
I think
I love this kid.
Ted's a dog.
He's Mike Evans, Drake London type comp. He ran, what was it, 4? It was a 4.4, right? 40?
I think it was like a 4.8.
4.5, it don't matter.
He ran a sub 4.5 at his pro day.
4.2, 4.3, 4.8, 4.9, don't matter. Tet at 4, baby. This guy is going to make all the catches. He's big. He's got a huge frame.
How long did it take you to think of that?
What? On the spot. But he's just got a massive frame. And I've liked him really since day one. Luther Burden was my wide receiver 1 going into the season.
He ran a
obviously.
4.55.
4.55.
At his pro day?
Mm-hmm.
For his size, that's still impressive
at the
because
combine, I think,
everyone
actually.
thought he was going to be 4.8, 4.9-ish range. I know Xavier Restrepo ran like a 4.8, and then he went on towards like, guys, my hamstring like was all screwed up. It's like, dude, you got game speed. You're going to be great. But back to Tet, he just, in terms of separation, he doesn't have the largest separations numbers. He averages, I think, about like 2.3 yards or something of separation, but he has such a huge catch frame. He's going out here. He's going out here. And he's just a great target for no. He's just going to be a great big target for Drake May to throw the ball to, because Diggs is going to be your guy on the inside doing all the dirty work, the chain mover, unless we get Pat Bryan like the 4th or 5th round. But Tet, dude, he's going to be a stud. He is going to be like T. Higgins, just not as good at running whip routes.
Okay. At 4, I got Carter. If you're a Patriots fan and Carter's at 4, this is like a dream come true.
This guy knows what he's talking about.
He is the best player in the draft. Easily the best player. If Tennessee wasn't quarterback needy, he would go number 1. If Cleveland wasn't quarterback needy, he'd go number 1. He is hands down the best guy. You can put him in multiple positions around the defensive line. He's quick. He's fast. He knows how to use his hands. There's no missteps or wasted movement in his game. Everything he does is for a reason with how he comes off the line, where he puts his hands at. Doesn't matter if it's a tackle or a guard, he's able to get through them. He has the ability to contain the edge and take away that speed from the edge. He's just an overall game wrecker. He can get the quarterback. He can stop the run. I love his ability to play sideline to sideline. There's not really getting around him. He has elite skills at the ball. Carter's biggest concern to me is just his size. How will he do against a more dominant offensive line, like those guys like in Philadelphia or like a Trent Williams? Like, how will he succeed against much bigger? What's so funny?
Dude, that old man's not stopping. That absolute monster.
We're not
Abdul Carter.
doing Trent Williams slander here. But regardless, it's just like he has a small frame. How are offensive lines going to be able to deal with that, and what's he going to do to stop that? I think he's quick enough to get past him. I think he's going to be great in zone ops. Like in today's NFL, a lot of zone reads, a lot of misdirections. I think he's going to do great. The other thing that he does sometimes is that he will shoot the gap a little too fast.
Oh, yeah.
And that can cause errors in the NFL. In college, not as much. But in the NFL, coordinators are going to pick up on that and use it against him. But with time and development, those small things that he does that hurts his game are eventually going to get corrected. And then it's just going to be good luck.
And again, they're too fast is going to cause Joe Burrow to run for those 60-yard touchdowns like against New York. There's your 2 Bengals reference, Sal. I hope you're happy.
Bro loves talking about the Bengals.
All right, I got 4. I got kind of a boring pick, but I got New England taking Will Campbell. They need somebody to protect Drake May. Will Campbell is, I think, with his 3 years of college, like he gave up 4 sacks total in 3 years. He can play guard, he can play tackle, somebody that can protect their quarterback. And Drake May, this big investment that they're taking into, the guy that they're building their team around, you know what I mean? It's not the most flashy pick in the world. It's not Tet. It's not a weapon. It's not Abdul Carter. It's not anything crazy, but like it is a big offensive lineman that's going to protect your quarterback. And at the end of the day, dude, you need one of those.
No, he likes complaining about it too much. He doesn't want them to have an O-line. He won't have them to complain about.
Yeah, exactly, bro. You have to start complaining about the Bengals.
I like how
you complain about the Bengals more than you complain about the fucking Patriots.
It's because they suck. What am I saying?
And the Patriots are good?
No, the Patriots suck. There's just nothing to complain about. Like, I have no expectations. But it's going to look funny because Blake was directly talking to me about, you guys need to take Will Campbell.
No, I mean, like I said, like you probably want something more flashy. You want another weapon, but like they went out and they got Diggs, they got the receiver. You guys have, like you guys are getting a team together. You guys don't have the best offensive line.
Oh, hell no.
The Patriots need a big, nice offensive lineman, and Will Campbell's that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a greedy little selfish fan at the end of the day. I just want the sexy pick like everybody does when you're in the top 5. No one wants the offensive lineman, but I like Campbell, what he says in interviews. He's a football guy. Mm-hmm. That's what I like about him. And, like you said, 4 sacks in 3 years. I think he said something about how, the pass rushers, they get 2 sacks. They're paid for the rest of their life. I give up 2 sacks a game. I'm going to be working like at a car dealership or something next week. And that's true. So 100%. I like that attitude, and I'm sure Vrabel is going to like that attitude too.
Do you guys think his arm length really went to 33 inches?
I saw that. I saw that it like extended, like from the combine to his pro day.
Yeah, he grew like half an inch in his like arm size, but his wingspan went down. It doesn't.
How does that make sense?
I'm not hating on him. I think he's going to be very good in the NFL, regardless. I don't think his wingspan is such a red flag as all these other people think. But I thought I'm like, there's no way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the arm stuff is just ridiculous, if we're being honest. It's just nitpicking. I get that there's like a set of standards they want these guys, like thresholds for them to fill. But if they're a damn good player, they're a damn good player. And I'm sure there's Hall of Fame tackles that had short arms, or just been general great tackles that have had shorter arms. All right, number 5. This is going to be the most boring pick of the top 5, and that's Mason Graham.
The most obvious pick.
Yeah. They could be in the lottery for Tet or Genty, but I just don't think that makes sense when they really need a run stuffer and they just need really disruption there in the middle because they got Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen Hines there on the outside. So they got good pass rushers. They just really need to disrupt the pocket from the middle. And honestly, no one in the draft's going to do that better than Mason Graham, my bad. See, dude, I just got Abdul on my mind 24/7. But Mason Graham, dude, he's, he killed it in Michigan. I know Ohio State fans probably hate him because he was wrecking games, but Mason Graham, he does a lot of things you like. He's big, wide. He's going to disrupt gaps. He's going to disrupt running lanes. Don't look at me like that. He does a lot of things right. And he's one of the blue chips, for sure blue chips, not a threshold guy. He's definitely, if defensive tackle was more of a position of value per se, the NFL scouts and GMs viewed, he could easily be the number one guy, number two or number three prospect in this draft. But we all know quarterbacks are prioritized, even if they're like the 15th ranked guy on the big board.
I like how you said the quarterbacks, even though they're ranked low on the big board or lower on the big board, they're still the first ones to go. It just kind of shows how much emphasis is on QB. But at 5, the most obvious, easiest pick in the draft is going to be Mason Graham at 5. Jacksonville's come out and
we all have the same faith.
Yeah.
Jacksonville has come out and said that they want to work on the trenches, that they want to build, they want to bring back their defensive line. They've already established that. They have Walker, they have Hines. They've established getting the edge. What they really lack is interior pressure. And what's so good about Graham is he has the highest floor out of everyone in the draft. You know exactly what you're going to...
You know he's going to be a solid player.
You know he's going to be good.
He's a safe bet.
He's a safe pick. But he still has an upside to him to rush the quarterback. He only had 3.5 sacks, I believe, at Michigan last year. But honestly, what he does is he just creates havoc. He's going to be able to stop the run up the middle. He's going to be able to create the pockets where the quarterbacks have to step up into the edge rushers. So I expect a lot of good things from the defense next year. But just with his motor, his energy, and like I said, his high floor is what makes him such an easy pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not the flashiest pick in the world, but the Jags were one of the ones I kind of went back and forth on. Like, if I'm Jacksonville and I'm sitting there at 5 and somebody like Tet's on the board, like I'm gonna have like a hard time not picking him. But I think the smart pick is taking Mason Graham. Like kind of I was talking about with Cleveland, like when you have just a dominant defensive line, like your offense can be subpar. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna stay in games. So I think if I'm Jacksonville, I'm going to be kind of teetering back and forth between those guys. But Mason Graham is definitely the smarter pick out of the two.
Yeah, it's not like Trevor Lawrence is bad and Brian Thomas Jr. is awesome. They just
like they have a good wide receiver one now. Like we saw last year, like Brian Thomas Jr. is a dog. Like we've seen it. So like they're not the most needy team for a wide receiver one. Like they can definitely use a second one, but I think Mason Graham is definitely more of a pressing kind of sign than
their division sucks.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Houston's, probably the shoe-in to win it, but I think if Jacksonville can really nail their draft and get a lot out of their rookies and get, Trevor, another running back and a weapon there in the later rounds, and Strange kind of feels what Ingram had done in the past, Brenton Strange, then, they could be a dark horse to win that division or at least give the Texans a hard time. All right, so I got the Raiders picking here at 6 overall. I got them picking Shedeur Sanders.
You know, they just traded for Geno Smith.
Hear me out.
I really don't want to, but
Tom Brady loves him. That's all I got. No, I'm just kidding.
That's it.
I think I can totally see them trying to do the whole backup plan. They figure maybe we could get, 2 good years out of Geno, and then we could go to Sanders. He learns how to do the offense. It gives us time to build around a bit more because they don't have the best skill position players right now. Jacoby Myers is cool. Brock Bowers is awesome. They have no running back. Their offensive line isn't bad, but it can be better. So that's kind of the way I'm thinking. Let's get our quarterback of the future now. This gives him time to learn and develop behind a good veteran. And because he's got things he's already good at, as Derek mentioned, the throwing with anticipation. He kills it when he throws the middle of the field. He has the leadership skills. So in terms of maturing there, I think he's fine, but he could obviously improve his decision-making, his playmaking ability, and this gives the Raiders a couple more years to build up that offense. They could plug him in, and then they could start making some serious runs. So that's why I got Sanders going to 6, even though it's probably a little ludicrous.
Yeah, I don't think it's ludicrous because we saw the Falcons last year pay Kirk Cousins a lot of money, and then they went and took Penix. So I don't think it's crazy.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like we've seen Geno Smith as a starting caliber quarterback for a few years now. Like he's able to win games. So you're going to have more quarterback prospects in the draft next year than this year. So I don't know why you're not going to go after a more needy position than quarterback when you have a starting caliber quarterback this year. You know what I mean? Especially when you're at pick 6.
I mean, I do agree there that the Raiders have more needs on the offensive side of the ball than the Falcons did going into last year's draft.
Yeah, the Falcons, honestly, other than quarterback, they were like stacked.
Yeah, and then they got Cousins, so that covered that. But Cousins was also coming off an injury.
Yeah.
The only reason why I don't cut you off. The only reason why I don't like Sanders at 6 is because what Sanders needs to work on is not raw skill. What Sanders lacks isn't something he can develop. He's not going to he's not going to become super fast out of nowhere. No, he's not going to be throwing the ball 30 yards farther now. Like he's not the things that he lacks are things that he's not going to develop sitting on a bench. I would get it if it was like how they did with Jordan Love or they even did it with Cam Ward. Those guys make sense. I'm not trying to just crap on your pick here because I definitely see the vision on why they would take a quarterback. But I think if the Raiders are going to do that, I think they should take like Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
hell no.
I mean, they should maybe like wait. I mean, because they can. I mean, so my pick, spoiler. What's wrong with? I think they should take Ashton Genty. Sorry to get out of order here, but like you have an insanely talented running back that they can add and grow into their offense right now while they still have a starting caliber quarterback already.
Not pay him in 5 years though.
I mean,
you maximize 5 years of value.
Yeah, 100%.
No other position can do that.
But then, like, you can sign a quarterback later into the draft or even next year and not waste your 6th round pick on somebody that, you know.
6th overall.
Yeah, like your 6th overall pick on somebody that's not going to start this year. Like, I understand. Like, I get the mentality of him behind Geno and developing, but, like, there's so much other stuff that they should do first before that.
And a part of why I think he will go there is because Tom Brady loves him. And he has a good relationship with him and his dad. And I think that's going to play a role into it. And to, glaze Shador a little bit here, he elevated his wide receivers except Travis Hunter. But he made...
Just said Travis Hunter like 4 times.
Yeah. He made Theo Wease Jr. better. He made Jimmy Horn better. Those two might get drafted because of what Shador did for them in college. And not using the 2019 LSU team as an example here, but I genuinely believe that good quarterbacks in college just make their wide receivers even better. And I think that good wide receivers, I think if Ted McMillan played with, say, people may call me crazy, but could you imagine if he played with like Will Howard? He would have been even better. I mean, look at Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. Emeka Ibuka's had good quarterback play all the years he was there. I think that makes these guys even better. And that's why I'm saying with Shador's, I think he makes those guys better. And I know that Geno is a good quarterback. I would argue when Geno is like playing good and has good pass protection, hell, he could be a top 10 quarterback. But Geno's also on the older side of things.
Top 15.
The back
top 15 for sure.
Yeah. Sorry to skip over you, but what was your pick?
Oh, I have Genty. I think he's the 3rd best player in the class. He's the best offensive player in the class easily. What he brings to the table in a Pete Carroll type of offense is he is a mix of elusive but power. He can be a 3-down back easily. He can carry the ball 20 times. He's like he's not Saquon Barkley, but he reminds me of Saquon Barkley with how quick he is, his first cut, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, and he's still strong enough to run between the guards and behind the center. And there's not going to be any issues. Like he's not one of those guys that has to go take a pitch or he has to go on the outside. He's a do-it-all type of running back. He's the best running back in the class. I get the idea of taking someone else and then taking a running back in the 2nd or 3rd round, but I think there are tiers to players.
Yeah.
And I think at the running back position, this is Genty, and this is the next best guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which would be Hampton.
Yeah, Hampton. And then it just keeps kind of coming down. So I think where he's at, we kind of saw it in college, how he was able to carry a workload. Mm-hmm. He struggled against Penn State, but like his offensive line, that whole team struggled.
I like Sorry to interrupt, but I like your point too about Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll and all of his teams has always like to have a good run game, and they have zero running backs on their team.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's going to run the ball.
Yes, he wants to run the ball.
1 yard line.
Unless it's the 1 yard line of the
Let's
Super
go.
Bowl,
Unless it's the 1 yard line.
and Aaron's crying tears of joy at home.
No one cares.
Scream moment.
But I think Gentie's the pick there at 6. They can go a couple different ways. The way the board's going to fall, I think they can go tackle and go get some more protection, even though the O-line's not bad. I know you have McMillan, but I think McMillan makes a lot of sense for them too. They can go defensively, but I don't think at 6 Sanders is in play. But it wouldn't surprise me if I was sitting here and I said Shedeur or Sanders. I wouldn't really be that surprised.
No, especially since
The Raiders are great at taking the player that they shouldn't take.
Yeah,
They are amazing at it. They
apparently
are.
so is
Didn't do that the last
So
2
there.
years. Just the last thought about Shedeur and why I think Geno was a win now type of move they made, which is good for them. That's a good way to tread. Let's be honest. They're probably going to finish last place in the division, either them or the Chargers. And, we don't know really what's going to happen with the Broncos because they're on the rise. But there's a chance in 2 or 3 years from now, we'll say 3 just to be generous, they could be competing for their division and be one of the top dogs in the AFC, because that's when all these AFC quarterbacks are going to start getting a little up there in age. They're all going to be on the wrong side of 30 at this point. So that, Shedeur's still going to be really young, and the Raiders could have a really young team at the time, but they could potentially run into a Jordan Love type issue where it's like, oh crap, we got to pay this guy a ton of money, and we've only seen him play for a year. That's my last thought on Shedeur. So 7th pick, I got the man from the state, from the Midwest Queen herself. I got Armand Membao from Mizzou going to the Jets.
The what? The what?
what now?
Just we're not going to talk about that reference. The people, if you know.
This thing on?
But I got.
Someone put the sound cue, the laugh cue.
do we all have Membao at 7?
Nope.
I have Membo.
All right, then we'll just tie our picks together. He's just, there's arguments that he's the best tackle in the class. You have obviously Campbell and you have Simmons who are up there, but Membao, he's been stud. He's really young. I think he's going to be, he's 20 right now. I'm not sure if he'll be 21 before the draft, but that's the type of guy you want, a really young tackle, because he's going to be eligible for his first contract when he's 25, 26. So that's really good news for the Jets, and they need protection there on that left side, right side. Well, the right side, because they just lost Morgan Moses. I believe Membao is traditionally a left tackle, and hopefully it's not too difficult to move him over to the right side, because I believe that's where they need help more. But in college, he obviously didn't give up a lot of sacks. He's a top prospect. He's a freak athlete. He's a guy that killed it in the combine. That's just totally increased his draft stock. And the Jets, they obviously got Aaron Glenn coming in there, so he's got a defensive-minded coach. Could argue maybe they're going to go defense, but you got to buff the trenches. I think you got to protect Justin Fields. But, this is another situation. This could be Tet because their wide receivers suck besides Garrett Wilson. Could be Tyler Warren because Tyler Conklin's not that good if he's even still there. But you know what? Let's protect our $20 million investment for this upcoming season. Well, I guess $40 million investment.
Well, I know Derek can attest to this, that Breece Hall wasn't really able to do a lot last year because of their offensive line.
That's true.
So I think offensive line for the New York Jets would be a huge asset to go after in this draft. Membao, like you're saying, is arguably the best tackle in the draft. So I think tackles are boring picks, right? They're boring picks, but they're going to be really, really effective for a team that needs them. They just went out and got Justin Fields. They want to establish a run game. They want to probably run the read option with Breece Hall and Justin Fields. So you're going to need a little bit of time in the pocket, and Membao is going to buy you that. So I don't think they need to make it complicated. They don't need to get a bunch of, flashy picks or anything like that. Just take Membao, take the tackle.
Yeah. Good quarterbacks, good tackles, good defensive backs, good receivers. These guys never hit free agency. That's why you got to hit a home run on them on the draft. And I think that's what it'd be for the Jets. Who you got, 7?
I unfortunately watched a lot of Jets games last year. I was watching every Jets game. I woke up at they play a London game. I was up watching it.
Watching that shit at 6 a.m, just pissed.
Yes, I was mad.
Bad day.
I'd wake up, just see Breece Hall not do anything. I'm like, with that being said, I'm going to go outside the box here. I think tackle is a good pick for them. If I had to put a tackle there, it'd be Membao. Every year someone sneaks up into the class just purely being athletic. And this year it's him. He played left tackle. I think he can easily switch to right. I think he can even go play guard. I'm gonna go Tyler Warren at 7. I think the Jets in Justin Fields, he's gonna need a security blanket.
Yeah, that's what I was
He's
thinking.
gonna need somebody to be able to bail him out, and they're gonna need another threat outside of Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. I think Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers was just kind of a disaster. I think that really never took off and that hurt the offense. I think with Justin Fields and kind of a new era in New York with Aaron Glenn, I think we're definitely gonna see him in a Sam Laporta type of role. And I think he's able to do lead blocks. Like he does get beat sometimes. He's not the greatest blocker in the world. There will be times where he's going to get oversized and he's going to get put in the dirt. But he has the ability to go vertical. He can strong, consistent hands. The ball gets to him. It's like a magnet. Like he's not going to drop the ball. He can take contact. He's very quick. They can get very creative with direct snaps. They can put him in read option situations at fullback with having Breece Hall back there. Like he did a lot at Penn State, and his biggest trait to me is I think he can play a very similar role to what Travis Kelce plays with Mahomes. He's going to have this ability to go vertical, but he's going to have this ability to kind of find and dink and dunk into the coverage and just be there where he needs to be and then just go yards after the catch.
And he's massive.
Yeah, he's going to be able
massive.
he's going to be able to play man coverage. Like he's going to be able to win man coverage. He's going to be able to sit in the zone. I will say though that I think he will struggle going up the seam at times. I think there will be a separation issue going up the seam at times. I think he can definitely work on that. He does get pushed around a little bit. I can definitely see him getting bumped off route. Sometimes he runs lazy routes when they're not designated towards him. That's something in the NFL you do that you're not going to play. So realistically, I don't really.
That's Travis Kelce's whole game, though, is the lazy route.
Yeah, but that's one player. Like, anyone else goes and does that, they're getting pulled. Especially, like, I feel like Aaron Glenn in New York, they're going to really be this high motor, no BS team.
Yeah.
We're not going to see them slouching like we've seen previous Jets teams. But just to wrap it up, I think Tyler Warren here, get Justin Fields a security blanket, get another dynamic in the offense, because he has a lot of ability. He can run wildcats. He's handled the football out of the shotgun. There's a lot of things you can do with Tyler Warren. I think he can address tackle early second round. There's guys there. Simmons might be there. There's some other guys that might be there. There's a lot of talent on the trenches this year, and I think Warren at 7, get you a blue chip player, and then go solid up.
Well, thank you for covering Tyler Warren for me, because I got him going at number 8. So the main reason I have him going at 8 is Carolina has a couple pieces there. Chubb obviously really kind of broke out last year. Jonathan Brooks, man, he showed flashes the few times he got the ball before he tore his ACL again.
Didn't he tear his ACL in like the first game?
It's like the first or second. It
was rough. I remember everybody was waiting for him to come back for fantasy.
Stashed in fantasy, because I think they want to do kind of the Gibbs and Montgomery type of deal there. And I think, you know what, the best way to make Bryce Young better is Thielon's a cool security blanket right now. Shout out him, big guy there in the fantasy playoffs for me.
Big Thielen guy.
Yeah, big Thielen guy. Leggett, I like Xavier Leggett. I know the guy sitting to the left of me disagrees with that, but I think he's going to keep getting better.
I don't dislike Xavier Leggett. I just don't think I just expected more.
That's how I feel about DK Metcalf every time I watch him.
DK Metcalf's a dog.
Sal can attest to that too.
DK Metcalf's a dog. We're not.
So back to Carolina. I think Warren, he just fills their biggest hole on offense, besides obviously the issues with the offensive line. I don't think their offensive line's that bad.
Honestly, the offensive line's solid. They addressed it. Like, they've definitely put the right pieces with Bryce Young. They're just lacking a little bit on the offensive side of the ball in terms of weapons. But their offensive line's set. They don't need to address it in the first couple rounds, I think. Maybe in the back half, maybe like the 4th round, they can go somewhere, maybe the 3rd, but.
So I think you go get Warren to become the new star pass catcher on the team. And then maybe in the later rounds, you could draft, your guy. They'll kind of take Adam Thielen's spot as they begin to phase him out as he gets older. But yeah, give Bryce Young that. And, I think Dave Cannell's offensive-minded coach. I think that's the way they go. Obviously, their defense is horrible.
Yeah, the defense is pretty bad. They have some good weeks.
Anything on the defense is an upgrade. There's a lot of good pass rushers in this draft. So I think that's why they'll go offense, because the offensive talent in this draft is not as good as the defensive talent.
I'm glad you said that.
That's why I got Warren going at going at 8.
This is my favorite pick of the draft. I think Carolina can go in multiple routes. They can go offense, they can go defense, they can go Warren, they can go wide receiver, they can go D line. I have them going with Tet. I think they need to get a security blanket, a true wide receiver one for Bryce Young to maximize not only his floor and his ceiling, but just the offense in general. I like Leggett. I think Leggett can be a solid wide receiver too. I think you put Adam Thielen in the slot. I think you put Tet at wide receiver one. He has the frame to win outside matches. He's great at adjusting to the coverage the defender's giving him. He has great body control. You can just turn on the tape and see that contested catches are second nature to him. He's fast enough. People were concerned about his speed, but his 40 time at his pro day kind of diminished that. He's good around the boundaries. Like, I think his attention to detail on the sidelines is great. The biggest concern with Tet for me is that he does use his size a lot. In the NFL, you do need to have some technique. He's a linear route runner, and when you're a linear route runner, you tend to struggle against press coverage more. It's easier to deal with it. Do I think he's going to have that issue? Most rookies do when they first get into the NFL, but overall his size, speed, and his like catch radius and his ability to get up in the air and win jump balls, he's going to make an immediate impact for Bryce Young. And we saw Bryce Young in year one. We saw him in the first half of year two. And then out year two, second half, the switch flipped.
Yeah.
This is Bryce Young. This is the Alabama Bryce Young.
He's confident. He had that swagger.
Like he went out there, he was smiling, he was running around, he was making a lot of good throws. They were hanging in with good teams. Like they hung in with the Eagles.
That little turnaround, like little highlight he had where he turned around.
Yeah, where he turned around when he threw it. They competed well with the Eagles. They almost beat the Chiefs. Like Bryce Young has shown the flashes. The only way to truly elevate the offense and keep going is to just get him more weapons.
Yeah, improve it.
That's I have them taking Tet too. I know what you mean about him kind of using his size as to an advantage too much. But like they have other route runners. Like Adam Thielen is kind of like that slot, kind of quick inside, like kind of route running type of receiver. So it would be kind of paired up well with Tet to kind of have somebody on the perimeter. But yeah, I think getting Bryce Young, a guy who's kind of growing confidence in the NFL, like somebody that he can rely on a lot to catch the ball and make contested catches when he's not able to, perfectly place the ball out of the defender's reach, is a huge thing that they can do to kind of take their offense to the next level. So I think Tet is the pick for them. Like you're saying, like offense in this draft isn't nearly as talented as the defensive side of the ball. So they do have a lot of needs on their defense. But I think them locking down a true wide receiver one for Bryce Young is priority number one. And I think Tet would be the guy to do it.
I just think where they're picking at, they're at the back half of the top 10. So the blue chip defensive prospects are gone.
Yeah.
Graham and Carter and even Travis Hunter could be beneficial to them. They're all gone.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, who's there at 8 that you're going to take over Tet? Jalen Walker is there, but besides that, I don't really think there's a whole lot for them to go. They can go cornerback. Like, they could obviously address a lot of issues. But I think where the draft board could possibly fall and where they're at the back half, the offensive talent is way slimmer coming back into their second pick. And that's what I think a lot of people don't think about when they think about these picks, is who's going to be there in that one your next picks up. There's going to be a lot more edge rushers that are still very talented. There's going to be guys that play second in the secondary. They're going to be very talented. But at wide receiver, the gaps, same thing with the running back class. He's here. Next guy's down here. I like Tet at 8.
I mean, let's look at last year. How many offensive players were picked before the first defensive players? Like, what, 14 picks?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like a record or something. Where it was a very...
Everyone was avoiding the defensive guys last year. This year, it's a little bit more of a year, a little bit of a reversal from that. But at 9, the Saints, I got them picking Ashton Genty. So, let's look at it like this. Him and Kamara would be...
he goes like this.
Him and Kamara...
I know what you're saying.
Would be...
They already have Alvin Kamara.
Him and Kamara. I know what you're saying. He's not going
to be there. All right, go ahead. My bad.
Him and Kamara would be insane together because, as Derek just said, as our mock drafts have depicted thus far, there is no offensive talent that is really there that is going to move the needle for the Saints. So somehow we have went through this entire episode so far without saying best player available. And I think the Saints absolutely just have to take the best player available.
He's not going to be there though.
Because they suck.
We're going to play hypothetical this year. Go ahead. Keep it.
Well, according to my mock, he's here. And he probably won't be. But you know what? If he is, I think they should take him. Because one, he's the best player available. Two, him and Kamara would be insane. And it's going to take stress off of Kamara. Because Gentry's going to be more of that power back. He's getting Marshawn Lynch comp. So this dude's going to get beat up when he's running between the tackles and stuff like that. And then Kamara could just go, they could play a lot of 12 personnel, or not 12, my bad. They could play like either 20 personnel or 21 personnel, have the two backs, slide out Kamara out to the outside, give Gentry a handoff. They could get creative.
I kind of see the vision.
I mean, it would be nice, but I don't think it's plausible unless they trade up.
Hey, Kellen Moore's not bad OC. He could get creative with some stuff.
I mean, no, it would be sick if they can have both of them. Like, that'd be sick, but I don't think.
See, guys, I got them to see my vision.
I see the vision.
I see what you're saying about putting Alvin Kamara like in slot packages and stuff like that. But at 9, and with what the Saints team is, I'm just not buying it. I got Jalen Walker at 9. Jalen Walker is my draft crush.
I didn't get to finish what I was saying.
No, you're done.
So you're going to take an offensive pick, an offensive-minded first-time head coach.
Your mock draft reminds me of when I go in the chat GBT and I ask for a 2025 mock draft.
And they give you like Brock Bowers at pick 6.
Yeah, this is how I feel. Or like when I go on some random website and I do like an auto sim and Jackson Dart's 3rd overall pick. This is how I feel.
Dude, Riley Leonard will always be like the 3rd overall pick on one of those draft sites. I'm like, come on, man.
It ruins my mock draft because there's so many. Anyways, Jalen Walker, I think, has one of the funnest kits. What do you do?
Dude, he sucks at stopping the run.
He's so good.
Yeah, he has some issues.
He's horrible at stopping the run.
His off-ball instincts aren't necessarily fully there yet, but he's a young player. He's going to get better. His instincts are going to come into the NFL. He is undersized, but his ability to rush the quarterback and then play off the ball at the same time gives him a skill set that the Saints could really use.
He can't play off the ball, dude.
Yes, he can.
His highlights are beautiful. Almost.
I definitely
needs
think
to be a true edge.
I definitely think he can play. I think he can play off the ball. I think you can put him in 1st and 2nd down and go off the ball, and then in 3rd down you can send him. I think with what the Saints look, you're talking about Ashton Genty at 9. And I was quiet, and I sat there for a second. So you're gonna sit there and listen. Thank you, Jalen Walker. the Saints need so much.
Yeah, they do.
Look at that entire team. They need everything. Jalen Walker is going to give them the ability to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. He's going to be able to play 2 downs as a linebacker, and then on 3rd down, he's going to be able to rush the quarterback. He did it at Georgia. He had 6.5 sacks. He's only going to get better. He's very quick. He can contain the edge. Sure, he has some issues with tackling. Those are things you can fix.
Yeah.
It's not like his speed or his strength or his quickness are the issues here. It's
the intangibles are there.
Yeah, he has all the intangibles. He has the ability to be a very versatile weapon with a very
You know what? I'm going to interrupt you. You know what I'm surprised by? Since we're talking about saying no one has mentioned them taking a quarterback like in any mock.
I mean, they should.
They should.
I don't think they're going to take him in the 1st round.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a later round.
They're going to take that boy, Jalen Milroe, Link. Let a naysayer know. Continue, Derek.
Continue, Derek. All right. I'm just going to start my 9. All right. The Saints, the Saints were one that I had a hard time with just because their roster is so thin. Like, they have so many needs everywhere. So I just had them kind of taking the best player available at this point, which I think would be Tyler Warren. It's another nice weapon for Derek Carr. He has Chris Olave. He has Shaheed, who's like a nice speedster. So they have like 2 decent receivers. So I think him adding another target, Tyler Warren, would be really beneficial for their offense. And like you're saying, like, we've said it a couple times now, these offensive players, this one's probably the last big offensive player in the draft left. So I think if he's there and the Saints don't take him, that's going to be very dumb of them. So I think them just taking the best player available And taking Tyler Warren would be smart.
All right. So finishing up our top 10, I'm going to go, obviously, the Chicago Bears. I'm going to go Hampton at 10. I know I was kind of hating on the Bears taking a running back, but I think the way that the board's going to fall and what the Bears did this offseason was they addressed the offensive line, they addressed the defensive line. They've taken the formula that they took in Detroit, the other teams have taken, obviously, with Ben Johnson. And I think they're just going to continue to build what they had in Detroit with Omari Hampton. He's going to play the David Montgomery role, but I think he's a lot younger, a lot faster version of him. I mean, the kid is 6 foot, 220, and he ran a 4.46. He's like a little Derrick Henry. He ran a sub 4.5 at 220 pounds at 6 feet.
6 foot.
Yeah, the kid is massive. He's insane. With what Chicago's doing, it just makes sense. Ben Johnson's trying to bring that culture. He's trying to bring that energy and that play style. I think DeAndre Swift and him would be a great combo. They both have the ability to catch the football. DeAndre Swift can be more of the elusive back, even though I don't think he's necessarily super elusive. And obviously, in tougher situations, short goal line, third downs, you can put Hampton in there and let him just bulldoze his way. The only concerning things that I see with Hampton's game is he is a downhill runner. With being a downhill runner, he has it's like a one cut ability. He has one cut, and after that, that's it. He does struggle sometimes fighting for extra yards in terms of seeing the field well. There'll be times where he runs into his blockers, or he just takes the wrong angle, and instead of getting 6 yards, he gets 4. In the NFL, obviously, it's a game of inches. Every yard counts. Every play counts. 2 yards can be the reason why you win or lose, and you're playing in the next round. Not saying obviously for the playoffs, but that there's the game's a lot more developed. It's a lot more meaningful. You can't just be I missed my block. Like, those things change games. He does struggle in pass pro a little bit, but I think with what Chicago's doing, Hampton makes a lot of sense for me. The way the board's falling too, I think just giving them that combination again just makes a lot of sense.
So I have the Bears pick in Mike Green from Marshall, and he had a really good season last year in the Sun Belt. So he was originally at Virginia, transferred over to Marshall, and he had 17 sacks last year. And that's just unheard of for the most part for these pass rushers in the NCAA. And mostly it's just because due to the amount of games they play, they only, 12 in the regular season, then maybe they get a bowl game, conference championship, et cetera, et cetera. But Mike Green, I think if you just put him on the other side of the line with Montez Sweat, they're just gonna wreck offenses. There's just nothing about it, dude. Those two are gonna be very hard contained. They're gonna be a problem every single game for the opposing teams. And for the most part, Detroit has a really good offensive line. Green Bay, there's all right, and same thing with Minnesota. Minnesota, actually, I'd say Minnesota's is pretty damn good too. Green Bay, they're good, but not the greatest. So back to kind of the thoughts on Mike Green. Watching some cut up highlights of him, a little bit of film, seeing what some other people have said about him. His tape is just really good overall. This guy, he does it all. He's just got a great bull rush, spin moves, cuts, rips, everything. He just has a high motor. He doesn't give up. He fights his way to the quarterback, and he gets the job done. 17 sacks, and people will say, well, he was playing against, in the Sun Belt last year. Well, he played really well against Ohio State, and that's the best of the best. That's the beginning of the year as well.
He also killed the Senior Bowl.
He did, yeah. I mean,
they won, that's when he really flew up draft boards because he dogged the competition.
He put Josh Connerly on his ass. Like, it was nothing.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He's a beast. He's an animal. He to me is really the only other edge rusher that can seriously be plugged in day one, and this dude's going to start wrecking games right away. I really like him as a prospect, and it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up going in the draft because of the character concerns.
Yeah, I have Mike Green going to Chicago too. They've really put a big emphasis on their trenches this offseason. So if they just get like what you said, Montez Sweat on the opposite side of Mike Green, and then they just got Grady Jarrett in the middle, they're going to have an insanely good defensive line. They already beefed up their offensive line. So I've seen a lot of people say that maybe they go tackle. But honestly, like, they got really 3 great offensive interior linemen. So I think just beefing up on the other side of the defensive line would just really like destroy teams. And they already have a pretty decent secondary. I was kind of going back and forth on Chicago too. I can see them maybe going safety because they got kind of a weaker safety core. But honestly, I think them taking Mike Green like a game wrecker type of defensive end to put across from Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, like that defensive line is going to be insane.
Yeah, a great pass rush just makes the secondary even better because those guys don't got to do their job as long.
100%.
And they're going to force errant throws, and that's what Mike Green and Montez Sweat could bring to Chicago, and that, could potentially give them the best defense they've had since 1985 when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I like Mike Green. I think Mike Green's a good player. Obviously, there's some character concerns, but you saw it with Jalen Carter. You've seen it with a bunch of these kids coming into the draft that 9 times out of 10, the issues get fixed or they get solved. And talent is talent when you're looking for prospects, and he's easily one of the most talented players in the draft. He's probably the second best edge rusher to Abdul Carter. If Carter wasn't in this draft class, Mike Green is probably the most pure, ready pass rusher in the class.
Yep. So do you guys have any other prospects that you really love in this draft class? Just anyone else that really stands out to you that it's not necessarily going to crack the top 10? Like, Matthew Golden's put up some, he was awesome last year at Texas. He had a great combine. I know he kind of embarrassed his teammate Isaiah Bond by running an even faster 40 than him. But anyone stands out to you guys in particular?
Who I want to go to. So if this draft plays out like my mock right here, I would really, really want the Niners to take Jalen Walker. That's who I would want. If Jalen Walker is at 11 and the Niners don't take him, I'm gonna be pissed. Jalen Walker is the guy I've probably done like the most research into, like just his film and stuff like that. Like that guy's crazy. So he's kind of like my draft crush.
I think it was, if you look back at my mock draft, I didn't have any of the tackles go in the top 10. I have concerns about Will Campbell's ability to play tackle in the NFL just due to his arm size. I know some people care, some people don't care. I have little concerns, I think, why he falls at the top 10. I think Membo is very, very good, but he's very, very raw. I think he needs to be more developed, a little bit more polished in his game, especially if he's going to switch positions around. But at 11, if they take either of the tackles, I'd be very excited. I really want to see the Niners go DB too. I think the cornerback class early is very, very good. And the cornerback class in the front half versus the back half versus the defensive line and offensive line, front half, back half, I think the Niners addressing cornerback would be something that I look forward to them doing, but there's no one really else in the class. Mikael Williams, I think from Georgia, is a very fun prospect. He has a lot of upside as a pass rusher. I think he'll go back in the back half of the first round. Really hope it's not Lions, but the Lions are mocked around his type of range, but that's probably my draft crush.
Dude, what's scary is how like you got the Eagles, the Lions, the Commies, just teams back there. It's like the Commies, where you're just like, please don't let one of these elite pass rushers fall to them.
The Eagles are going to find a way to get him.
They're going to get Pierce Jr., I think,
Yeah.
from Tennessee, because he's another guy with a little bit of character concerns.
No way he falls to 30s.
And Sal's going to be like, hell, we did it again. He'd be like, no, he didn't, dude. He just drafts guys with
Dude, you said no
concerns.
Eagle slander since they beat
I don't
the
care.
Chiefs.
The Giants have broken me with signing Mr. Unlimited. Anyways, so my draft crush is Paige Buchers from the University of Connecticut. Just kidding. It's actually Luther Burden. So like I said earlier in the episode, I love this guy. I was watching him last year, and there was a game they played. I don't remember who Mizzou beat, but they got that fat kicker, dude. It's so funny on Twitter. Nailed the game winner. And I remember texting Derek because Burden had a huge game. I said, this dude is going to be wide receiver 1 next year. Unfortunately, Brady Cook was hurt most of the year, and then they had Drew Pine backing him up, who isn't the greatest. Although
Brady did not cook.
He did not cook. And then Drew Pine, love him when he was playing for the Flying Irish.
What?
But Burden, he just, the production was just down this year for him.
Fucking cornball, bro. Sorry, continue.
The production was just down this year for him. But I think this guy is really dangerous. I think he can kind of be like a Rashee Rice. Like, don't take that the wrong way. I know I said
he's dangerous.
I said he could be dangerous. He could be a dangerous weapon in the passing game, not on the roads, hopefully. he didn't go to Georgia. He does hail from the land of the Midwest princess. But,
Who is the Midwest princess?
Google it. But all in all, I like Burden, dude. I wanted New England. Coming in the season, I'm like, if New England's going to be absolutely atrocious this year again, which they were, of course, just my luck. That was kind of a narcissistic thing to say since, they've been successful for like my whole life, except like the last 3 years.
6 Super Bowls.
Yeah. But, he was.
Chapel Roan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
So he was Luther Burns, my draft crush. That concludes the episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your day. There'll be more videos coming at you real soon.